So today I'm going to walk you through everything in the audio8ball.com on-air studio, and I'm going to give you information on how to pass your O2 Final. So let's go. So this is the hallway. Right in here is where you sign up for studio time in Studio C and in the classroom. Right here is the audio8ball.com on-air studio. So let's go. Here's where you're going to put in the code that your professor gives you. Make sure that you write this down, and if you don't have it, you might want to ask your professor before it's time for your final, because you don't get a second chance at it. It's your final after all. Once you put the code in, you're in. Turn on the lights, get comfortable. You're going to be here for an hour. So this is the board. It does look intimidating, but it's very, very similar to the board that you have already learned on. Now, you'll also see the CD Denons. You have CD Denon 1, 2, and 3. They're very, very similar. And they do look a little intimidating, but they're the exact same ones that you've been using in other studios. This is the CD burner. In order to turn it on, you simply hit the power button, then you go to open close. You let it open, and make sure that you have a blank disc. Check it. When you look at it, you shouldn't see any markings whatsoever. It should be completely clear, no lines whatsoever. You simply put it in face down and close it. You want to make sure that the recording levels are set pretty good. About right there should be good. Never mind this one, it's these two that you have to worry about. It should say scanning disc and say CD. After that, it should say blank disc. When that happens, you're going to see that screen pop up. Come over here to this button and scroll over so that you highlight execute on here, and then you push this button in. You'll see completed and a bunch of zeros up here in blank. Next, you hit record ready, and you'll see green lights here. These are the levels that you can adjust here. Make sure that they're set at a constant level. When you're ready to record, simply hit the record button. You want to record your entire 1 hour show. Don't try to stop and start it, because when you do that, chances are you might miss something. And since it's your final, you want to make sure you record it all. Like I said, you're going to have one shot at this because of scheduling, and you don't want to mess it up. So at the beginning of your show, simply hit the record button, and at the end of the hour, hit stop. So right now, I'm going to show you how to load up a CD. You get just any CD that you have on you, and it can be these recorded disc CDs. I have one. It's how I like to have music. You want to make sure that you have at least 2 different CDs. If you don't have at least 2 CDs, you're going to run into a lot of problems. You can only transition with 2 CDs. You can have a 3rd CD if you want, but we highly encourage you just to do 2 CDs to start out with. It makes it less complicated for yourself. And trust me, the less complicated you are during a final, the better. It's pretty simple. You know how to control these already. Simply to scroll over to different tracks, you move the big knob. You have your cue button, your pause play, your stop, and your next ones. Once a song starts to play, it's automatic. It will stop at the end of that song and simply go to the next track without starting again. But you still want to make sure that you pot it down on the board. Now, you want to grab your O2 audio8ball.com radio show packet, even though it's 2 pages. You want to follow it precisely. At the top of the hour, you hit the legal ID. You read the legal ID, which is attached. It reads simply, you're logged on to the world-famous audio8ball.com, broadcasting live from Mount San Antonio College in Walnut, California. This is the world-famous audio8ball.com. Why listen to anything else? Make sure you read it precisely. It's a legal ID, and it's SEC mandatory that you read it like that. Now, after that, you can introduce your show title, you, and the songs you're going to play, and also any relatables that you might want to be talking about during your hour. Really, this is where you use all the skills that you've learned in your O2 class. Throw some personality in there. You just don't want to be very robotic on the air, because then you're going to get a bad grade. You want an A on this. So, you follow this to a T. You have 15 seconds to intro you, the show, and front sell those topics. Then, you go right into music. You have about 12 minutes. Then, at about 12 after, you hit your first break, where you do your first relatable, and you read a live PSA on the air. This will already be pre-typed. It's something you don't need to have ready. Then you play music for about another 22 minutes, and you hit the 35 break. Do basically the same thing. And then you play music again for about another 14 minutes or so. Then, At 50 after, you have your third and final break, where you do your third relatable, and you read that PSA, another 30-second PSA, live on the air. Then, you have music for about another 8 minutes, and that's your show. You hit the legal ID within 2 minutes of the top of the hour. And then, you simply come over here with the mouse, you pause and start it. It's really simple. These dash marks here indicate the legal top of the hour. To start it, you simply double click on it with the mouse. To pause it, you simply go up to the top corner of the iTunes bar and you pause it. On the board, it's pretty simple. It's marked as audio8ball.com. When you want to turn it down, simply pot it down and turn it off. This is mic 1, mic 2, and here we have channels A and B. Channel A is CD player 1. To move between A and B, you simply push this button down. Right now it's on A. When the light is on, it is on B. You want it on A because you're mostly going to be using CDs. If you want, you can bring record players into here. These are our record players. To turn them on, you simply hit the buttons out in the upper right-hand corner. And then on the mixer, you go back here on the right-hand side and you turn on the button at the very top. It's pretty simple to use these things. You unclip them, which is very important, and you lift it up. You want to take off this clear little plastic thing. It's protecting the needle, and it's something that's extremely delicate. So take out the little plastic thing and set it aside for later. When you want to load up a record, you take off the plastic protector off the middle. You put the record on, you use the lever bar to bring the needle up off the record, set it to where you think you might need it, and simply lower it. This lowers the needle gently down onto the record. Once it's loaded onto the record, you actually hit start right here, and it automatically starts playing. You want to hit this the second that you want to start playing the song, but you also want to make sure that it's queued up well before you go to hit start. When you're done, you simply let the song play out, fade it down, and then once it's faded down and you've gone to the next song, come back here and stop it. And just make sure that you put everything back the way it came, put the cover back on, lock it into place, and make sure you put the plastic cover back on there, just like that. To turn everything off, it's pretty much the same thing. Turn the power off here, here in the upper right hand side, down here. Once you're done going back and forth between records, it's pretty simple. Right now I'm going to show you how you record. We'll just record a few seconds in order to show you how to turn this thing off and finalize it. Once you're done playing songs and your show's over, eject your CDs, collect them, and then put them back wherever you keep them. And just simply turn off the demons. Now, for this, say it's been an hour. You hit stop on it, obviously. It's going to say please wait. You hit record ready. That takes the levels all the way down and it stops the timer. You then hit open close. It says it's an unclosed track. You simply push in the giant knob in order to finalize it. It's finalizing. This should only take a few seconds. It says please wait finalizing. Once it's done, it's simply going to spit out your disc. You always want to make sure that you keep the monitor speakers on. That way you can hear if something's going over the air. Even if you have headphones, you want to make sure that you don't have a mic engaged. That's been a common mistake when people take the O2 Final. They simply leave a mic on, and that causes issues, and it ultimately affects the grade. Once you've ejected the disc, you check to make sure that there's something on there. You'll see some lines there. It's very faint, but they're there. You mark it O2 Final, and you store it. This is gold. It's what ultimately determines your final grade for the final in O2. When you're done here, just hit close and power. Now ultimately there are going to be people that are coming up right after you, so you want to make sure that you go right to the top of the hour. If for some reason you're late and you don't show up at least 30 minutes before your final, then unfortunately if you don't start right at the top of the hour, whatever you have, you have. Some people have started, well, 20 minutes after the top of the hour and started their show, and unfortunately that's 20 minutes out of their final that they've lost. Now, that doesn't mean you can go 20 minutes after into the next hour. At the top of the hour, you're done and you're out of the studio, unfortunately. So you want to make sure that you show up at least 30 minutes before the final. Once you're done, make sure that this is on and playing in the 8-bot playlist, and that the volume down here is low. You want to keep it at about 1. Normally, you never turn it up about here. Because there are offices around us, we want to keep the volume down for those people. Because while we are having a good time in here, there are people around us and we do have to respect them. Pretty much that's it. Again, mic 1, mic 2, and back here in the corner is mic 3. Typically you just want to use mic 1 or 2, although mic 3 is available. And that's pretty much it. It's a walkthrough of the audio8ball.com studios. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask your professor, or you can contact me, Alan Bailey, in the main office, or DJ Bob Vincent, the assistant program director and my cameraman today, or you can talk to anybody else in the office, including James Rojas and Krista Burns. Thanks, guys. Good luck on those finals. Don't forget to record the whole thing, and please show up at least 30 minutes before and have all your music ready. You want to have at least an hour and a half worth of music, just in case. Good luck, guys. Peace out.